All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Zach Dillinger, and I work in the communications area at the Department of Insurance and Financial Services, or DIFS as we call ourselves. Now, with me today as moderator, I have Ian Oberg. Also with us are auto insurance analysts Parker Fisher and Joe Stoddard. Now, Joe and Parker will be helping to answer your questions a little bit later on. And speaking of questions, if you click on the speech bubble with a question mark somewhere on your screen, it's a little different for each type of platform, you'll be able to type in your questions. So we are here to dive a little deeper into these changes to auto insurance and help you understand what's happening and how to move forward. Now, we do know that the changes can seem big, but we are here to help and make sure that you understand the changes that are coming this summer and into the fall as you renew your policy. And we will also provide you with resources, including our website, our videos, and our publications. Now, you'll also be able to watch this presentation again later on our website as we have previously recorded it. And I'll tell you how to find all that a little bit later. So with that, let's get started. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. First, a little background about DIFS. So we are fee funded and we do not require your tax dollars to operate. We regulate Michigan's insurance and financial industries. Now, this includes insurance agents, insurance companies, mortgage companies, deferred presentment companies, sometimes called payday lenders, as well as state chartered banks and credit unions. Now, in all that we do, our guiding principle is that we are regulators, and that means we work for you as a consumer protection agency. Now, in our day-to-day work, we work to foster economic opportunity for Michigan consumers, seek to provide fair access to institutions that are safe, sound, and entitled to public confidence. And as we are here doing today, provide financial and insurance education to help people understand their options. So now that you know a little more about who we are, let's move on to the changes to no fault. So to understand the changes to the law, you first need to know that the basic Michigan auto insurance policy, which you must buy to drive legally, has three mandatory parts, or coverages as we call them in the insurance world. Those three parts are property protection insurance, or PPI, personal injury protection medical coverage, we call those PIP, and residual liability bodily injury and property damage. Now, that is quite a mouthful, so we do call that BiPD for short. Now, I'll only be speaking about how the new law affects the last two. Those are the changes that you're going to have to do something with. So PIP and BiPD, that's the order for the day. Now, on the screen, you should see the big picture changes. These are the key changes that this new no-fault law makes to the way our auto insurance works here in Michigan. So, number one, the new law provides drivers with a choice for the first time on the level of medical coverage that they want to buy. It lowers costs while maintaining the highest benefits in the nation, and it increases consumer protections. Now, most of these changes that I'm going to talk about take effect for policies issued or renewed after July 1st. So just about 3 weeks ago here is when these first policies started to take effect. So with that, let's start with PIP. Now, remember that PIP medical coverage is one of those mandatory three. It pays for medical care, recovery, and rehabilitation if policyholders are hurt in an auto accident. Now, under the old law, everyone had to have unlimited PIP medical coverage. You did not have a choice. But now you're going to get to choose a level of PIP which is right for you, your family, and your budget. Now, the new available limits equal or exceed the highest benefits in the country, and Michigan is the only state where unlimited PIP medical continues to be an option that you have. So there are 6 choices that you're going to get to choose from, and those options are unlimited coverage per person per accident. So again, that's what we have now, and you can choose to continue that coverage if you want. There's a up to $500,000 in coverage per person per accident limit. Now, options 3 and 4, you'll see both say $250,000. Option 3 is a $250,000 in coverage per person per accident limit. Now, option 4 is that same limit, but it allows you to exclude certain people from your household. We can talk a little more about that later. Now, option 5 is up to $50,000 in coverage per person per accident, and that's available if the named insured is enrolled in Medicaid, and everyone else in their household are either also enrolled in Medicaid, have another form of qualifying health coverage, or another Michigan auto insurance policy which provides PIP medical coverage. Now, finally, option 6 is a medical PIP opt-out. Now, this is available if you have Medicare Parts A and B, and all of the other members of your household either have qualifying health coverage or, again, another Michigan auto insurance policy which provides PIP medical. Now, it is important to know that if you do not make a specific choice, you will default to receiving unlimited PIP medical, and you'll pay the premium associated with that option. Now, earlier I made those 3 bullet points. First one was that this new law would lower costs while maintaining benefits. What you see here on the screen is one of the most important ways of doing just that. Each insurance company will be required for the next 8 years to reduce statewide average PIP medical premiums. Now, the amount of the reduction depends on the level chosen. So, for the unlimited option, it's a required average 10% reduction. For that $500,000 choice, it's a 20% reduction. For the $250,000 options, it's a 35% reduction. And finally, for that $50,000 option, it's a 45% average reduction. Now, here are some additional ways that this new law reduces costs. For the first time in auto insurance, we will have a fee schedule. Now, unlike with health insurance or Medicare, previously auto insurance did not have limitations on what a healthcare provider could charge for their services after an accident. Now, this fee schedule is a required cost control measure between the auto insurance companies and those healthcare providers, so doctors, nurses, ambulance services, things like that, to make that PIP medical care more affordable for consumers. Now, the law sets a schedule of fees that can be charged by providers for PIP medical services. And this provision will take effect after July 1st of 2021, so that's next year. And it's very important that you know that you're not going to lose care. It just means that healthcare costs will be better controlled. Now, also on the screen, you see the Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association, or the MCCA, and their assessment. Now, I am sure you have seen the MCCA in the newspaper or on TV, but I'll tell you what it is. So the MCCA is an association of auto insurers. It's required by the state legislature. Now, that group reimburses member companies for PIP medical costs which exceed an identified amount in the event of a catastrophic injury. The MCCA has already announced that as a direct result of this new law, it's able to lower its per vehicle assessment starting July 2nd, 2020, so just about 3 weeks ago now. And this will save Michigan drivers at least $120 per car. The fee on July 1st would have been $220. Now it's $100. And drivers choosing less than unlimited PIP medical will not pay any assessment to the MCCA going forward. Now, one of the most important parts of this new law is that it increases consumer protections in the insurance market and helps us here at DIFS make sure that the market is fair. To do that, the new law does a number of things, but I'm going to tell you about these 4. Number 1, it eliminates certain non-driving factors from the rating process. So when I say rating process, I mean how your insurance company decides how much your coverage should cost. And this new law prohibits those auto insurance companies from using your sex, your marital status, your home ownership status, your credit score, your educational level, your occupation, and your zip code in setting your auto insurance rates. Now, number 2, it created the Fraud Investigation Unit, which is a new unit within DIFS, which investigates criminal and fraudulent activities related to the insurance and financial markets. Now, those folks work with the Attorney General and law enforcement agencies to prosecute these crimes. And this is an important double benefit for us because not only is it a very important consumer protection, but it's also a cost savings method because auto insurance fraud drives up all of our premiums. Everybody who drives drives up that premium. Now, number 3, the law requires prior approval. So now auto insurance rates, policies, manuals, forms, all of those things must now be filed with and approved by us here at DIFS prior to being offered for sale to consumers. Now, number 4 does increase fines and penalties. So the new law allows for increased fines on insurance companies, insurance agencies, and licensed agents for certain violations of the law. Now, as I said before, you will need to choose a coverage level for PIP that's appropriate for you based on your needs and your budget. Now, to do that, your auto insurance company or agent will give you a form, and that form will describe the benefits and risks of the coverage options that you have. Now, you may want to talk with the auto insurance agent or company to discuss your personal auto insurance needs before making your choice. And when you do go to make that choice, depending on the level of coverage you choose, you might need to bring some information with you. Now, that information could include something from your health insurer or your employer which identifies individuals covered on your health insurance. You may need a statement as to whether your health policy complies with the law, which means it does not exclude or limit auto accident injuries and has a deductible of less than $6,000. Now, earlier I talked a little bit about qualifying health coverage. So what I've just said there, that is the meat of the definition of qualifying health coverage. So it does not limit or exclude auto accident injuries and has a deductible of less than $6,000. Now, finally, if you're a Medicare or Medicaid participant and you're going to seek either that option 5, $50,000 or option 6, opt-out, you will need to bring proof of enrollment in that program with you. Now, here is a sample of what that PIP form that your company or agent is going to give you, what it might look like. Now, I say it might look a little different because each company can make the choices to how the form looks, but it will still contain all the terms and information that you will need to make your choice. Now, it is a 4-page form, but you only have a couple of small parts to fill out, and all the information you need to do that is on the form itself. Now, on screen, you see the first page of the form, which has some definitions of words that will be used and some other important information that you should read. Now, here I want to point your attention to our website, which is michigan.gov/auto insurance. On that website, this form is posted, so you can actually download it and read it and know what it says prior to getting the form that you're going to have to fill out. So now let's take a closer look at this form and what you'll actually need to do to make your new PIP selection. So that was page 1. Now, excuse me, on pages 2 and 3, section A of the form explains the risks and benefits of those coverage options that you have. Now, this means it lists out the options we talked about earlier and tells you in plain language what each choice would mean for you and the potential trade-offs you make when you choose that option. Page 4 has section B. Now, section B is where you'll actually make your choice by initialing the form next to one, and please make sure it's only one of those options which are available to you. Also, if you choose that $250,000 with exclusions option that we talked about a minute ago, this is where you would list the names and birth dates of the household members that you are excluding from your PIP medical coverage. Remember that you only need the names and birthdays of those which you intend to exclude from PIP medical. Not everybody in the household, just those you want to exclude. On page 4, you'll also find section C. Now, section C, you'll need to initial the form next to 4 statements, which confirm that you understand what you're choosing and how it applies to you. Now, finally, you'd sign and date. Now, once you've given that form back to your agent or your company, you will have finished making your PIP choice. So as you can see, it is a fairly simple process, but it is a very, very important one. And you really need to understand before you make your choice. So be sure you have carefully considered all of your options before you do make your selection. Now, with that, we finished with what we need to talk about with PIP. So let's move on to BiPD. Now, earlier I mentioned that there are those 3 mandatory coverages to a Michigan auto insurance policy. This is the second and final one we're going to talk about today. Under this new law, another choice you're going to get to make is on your level of BI coverage. So BI is the portion of a no-fault policy that will pay up to certain amounts if the policyholder is found legally responsible for certain damages. It pays for those claims which are made by others against you. Now, currently, the minimum BI coverage level is $20,000 for a person who is hurt or killed in an accident, $40,000 for 2 or more persons in any one accident, and $10,000 for property damage in another state. Now, I say currently, so that means those policies which were issued or renewed prior to July 1st. So under this new law, the new law will allow drivers the ability to choose BI limits that best suit their family needs. Now, those old $20,000 per person and $40,000 per accident limits had not been adjusted for inflation in over 30 years. As we all know, things have gotten more expensive in the last 30 years. So drivers will now have the choice of purchasing coverage of $50,000 per person and $100,000 per accident, or even higher, to protect themselves against the increased potential for lawsuits. Now, if you do not make a choice, the default minimum is $250,000 per person per accident and $500,000 for 2 or more persons in any one accident. You should consider consulting legal and financial advisors to determine how to best protect your assets and income from this new scope of financial liability before you do work with your licensed auto insurance agent to make that selection. Now, like with your PIP choice, your company or agent will give you a form to fill out when you make your BiPD choice. This on the screen is the approved form, and your company should use a form which is identical. Probably won't say sample on it, but other than that, it should be the same. Now, we've also posted this form on our website as well, michigan.gov/auto insurance, so you can zoom in and read it when you get a minute. Now, as with the PIP form, it's very important that you read and understand this form before you then just have to fill out a couple of small areas and then sign the form to make your BiPD selection. Now, I also want you to know that we have produced videos on how to fill out the BI and the PIP forms, and you can find those on our website as well. So let's look at this BI form a little closer. On page 1, you'll find Part A. Now that explains BI coverage in detail. Part B explains the potential risks you face as a driver in Michigan and explains how BI coverage can help protect you. Part C, you'll initial the form in 3 places, next to 3 statements that confirm that you understand the risks and benefits of the coverage option you are choosing. Finally, Part C, you'd simply sign and date the form. Now, once you've done that and given the form back to your agent or company, you will have completed the BiPD selection process. So let's quickly recap what we've just seen. Your agent or insurance company will give you 2 forms to complete. The PIP form is where you'll pick the amount of medical coverage you want to have for your family. The BI form is how you'll pick how much your insurance company will pay on your behalf if you are at fault in an accident. Both forms contain all the information you need to make your selection. Now, with that does cover the big changes from the law that I need to tell you about right now. Before we do get to your questions, though, I do want to take some time to tell you a little more about how DIFS can help you. Other than our web address, which I hope you've written down, michigan.gov/auto insurance, perhaps the most important thing I can tell you today is that we do want to hear from you. Now, we are not going to be able to answer your individual questions about your specific auto insurance policy or situations, things like that. But we do have people in our office Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. to help answer those questions, whether they're auto insurance related or general insurance questions, or even financial questions. Those folks are there to help. Now, our call center is housed within our Office of Consumer Services, which also handles all complaints that come into our office. So if you're concerned that your auto insurance company is, unfairly delaying or denying your claim, charging you the wrong premium, or they're just not performing as they're required under the law, we are here to help. Now, we do encourage you to first attempt to resolve that complaint directly with the agent or company in question. But if you cannot reach a resolution, you may file a complaint in writing with DIFS via email or through our website. And speaking of websites, we have created a new one to help educate consumers about this new law. Our new website, I've said it a few times, I'll say it a couple of more, is michigan.gov/auto insurance. Now that page includes a number of great things, including information on the changes made by this new law, some tips for shopping for insurance, how to file a complaint and what that complaint process looks like, what to do if you're having issues with your insurance company, agency, or agent, and very importantly, a place to report insurance fraud. Now, this website has already been updated several times, and it will continue to be updated on an ongoing basis to make sure it has the latest information for you as we get further into implementation of this new law. So, to reiterate, we do want to hear from you. All of us here at DIFS work for you, and we are here to help you with these new changes. So to quickly go over what we've talked about, in advance of your next auto insurance renewal, agents and insurance companies will supply the PIP and BI forms, which describe the benefits and risks of the coverage options you have. You may want to consult with your agent to discuss your personal auto insurance needs. Please do call or email our office if you have any questions about the forms or anything else related to the new auto insurance law. Our phone number is 833-ASK-DIFS, and our auto insurance specific email is, extremely conveniently, it's autoinsurance@michigan.gov. Now, I do want to draw your attention to the website one more time. You can find those forms, a number of great publications and handouts that you can share with family and friends, and those videos as well. So it's a very good resource. I hope you take advantage of it and check it out. So with that, I think we've hit the highlights, and we can now take some of the questions that you've typed into the chat system. Please do feel free to ask more questions as they come up throughout the rest of the process. And as a reminder, click on that speech bubble with a question mark to type in your questions. Now, please remember also that our questions about specific auto insurance policies should be saved for our office analysts. Now, with that, I'd like to introduce as moderator today, Ian Oberg. Ian.
Thank you very much. Our first question will go to Parker, and the question is, do I have to buy unlimited personal injury protection if I don't have health insurance? Parker?
All right. So under the new law, no one has to purchase the unlimited PIP medical option on their auto policy, although Michigan is the only state where you can have that unlimited PIP option. People who buy lower PIP medical coverage levels or who opt out entirely would have to rely on their health insurance afterwards, after any auto accident injuries, after that auto insurance is used first. So it's important to know that if you choose a lower level of PIP and you don't have health insurance, you may be personally responsible for those medical costs that exceed your PIP medical coverage if you are in a crash. So it's important to factor that in your decision, but it doesn't require you to buy the unlimited option.
Thank you very much, Parker. Our next question is going to go to Joe, and this comes from Julie in Kalamazoo. Julie says, I'm on Medicaid/Michigan Healthy Families. I don't qualify for option 5 limited coverage of $50,000. My health insurance company rep told me, quote, you would want to choose the unlimited PIP because Medicaid pays last after all other payment sources are exhausted. Does this mean I'm required to choose unlimited PIP? Joe?
So thank you for the question, Julie. This kind of goes back to what Parker was saying previously, but nobody is required to choose unlimited PIP. If you don't qualify for option 5, the $50,000 option, everybody is eligible to choose unlimited, $500,000 per person per accident, or $250,000 per person per accident. So you have 3 choices, and you're not at all required to choose unlimited PIP.
Thank you very much, Jill. Parker, our next question goes to you. The question is, will the discounts mandated in the new law actually happen? How is the state ensuring that insurers are complying with the law? Parker?
Right, so the new law requires that the Michigan Department of Insurance and Financial Services review and approve every rate filing before it is available for consumers to purchase. Now, a rate filing is basically, before a product can go to market, the insurance company has to file their product with us and we review it. So for the first time, DIFS has, engaged with outside actuaries to really review these filings and make sure that the insurers are meeting or exceeding the new rate reduction requirements and not using any of the prohibited rating factors that were included in the new law. So all rate filings for the effective date of July 2nd have been reviewed by the department, and we have announced that the rate reductions do exceed the requirements in the law for every coverage option. But it's still important to note that your own individual specific rate may depend on your personal circumstances. So the reductions are an average reduction per company. It may vary for your individual rate because there are other factors like driving record and the level of coverage you buy. So if you buy more, it's going to cost a little bit more. So it's important to shop around and really look at your coverage that you're selecting and really get something that works for you and your budget.
Thank you very much, Parker. Our next question is for Joe. Kind of fits in with what Julie had asked. What is qualified health coverage and how will I know if I have it? Joe?
So qualified health coverage is it's a term that's used in the law, and it generally refers to health insurance that ensures that auto accident injuries are covered. So qualified health coverage literally means either having Medicare Parts A and B, or having a health insurance policy that doesn't limit or exclude auto accident injuries and has a deductible of less than $6,000. Now, to determine whether if you have qualified health coverage, if you have Medicare Parts A and B, your Medicare card works as proof for qualified health coverage. But if you have other health insurance, your health insurer should provide you with a document that lets you know if it is qualified health coverage or not. And you may have to contact your employer's benefit office or insurance company to get the documentation, because you'll need it if you are going to, say, opt out or exclude someone from coverage or choose the option 50,000 per person per accident. All of those require some sort of proof that you have the health insurance that you're saying that you have. So you'll want proof of that before you go and make your PIP choice.
Thank you very much, Joe. Next question goes to Parker. I renewed my policy recently before the July 1st effective date. Do I need to contact my insurance company or will the changes happen automatically? Parker?
Right, so the law goes into effect for policies that are issued or renewed after July 1. So if you renewed your policy before then, let's say like in May, that policy will continue to term until the next renewal, unless you want to do something to make a change in between then. So, if you don't want to wait until your next renewal for the changes to go into effect, you're free to contact your insurance agent or company, and you can get a quote under the new law so you can make an informed decision on any changes you want to make to your policy and hop onto the new system. And during that time, we also still encourage you to shop around and really think about the decision if you do choose to hop onto the new system.
Thank you, Parker. Joe, our next question is for you. Is there still a fee for those who are previously uninsured?
So the law has changed there. So previously, auto insurance companies could charge a penalty to people who had gone without insurance for a period of time. Under the new law, insurers aren't able to either limit coverage, charge a reinstatement fee, or increase the premium for a driver solely due to having a lapse in insurance coverage. This is in effect for a limited period of time. It started after July 1st, 2020, and it continues until January 1st, 2022. So you're not able to be denied insurance or charged a reinstatement fee for that purpose until the beginning of 2022.
Thank you, Joe. Next question goes to Parker. I have ongoing health issues from a crash that occurred before the law went into effect. Will I still get care under the new law? Parker?
Right. So the new law, it's more of an ongoing basis from here forward out when we're talking about new claims. So if you had an accident and you're still claiming benefits from any complication, you're still going to receive those benefits. Before everyone had the unlimited PIP coverage, and so you'll still be entitled to those unlimited benefits from a previous crash, before the new law. So you'll still be able to, receive that care, and you will be covered.
Thank you very much, Parker. Joe, next question. I'm a motorcyclist and I'm worried I won't get personal injury protection coverage under the new law if a car hits me. Is this true? Joe?
So as was the case prior to the changes to the law, if a motorcyclist is injured in an accident involving a motor vehicle, the motorcyclist is entitled to receive PIP medical benefits from the insurer of the owner of the motor vehicle. If the owner of the motor vehicle doesn't have coverage, then the motorcyclist would seek PIP benefits from the driver of the vehicle. And then if neither of those two people had coverage, or if they're the same person and they didn't have coverage, the next order of priority is the motor vehicle insurer of the operator of the motorcycle, meaning the motorcyclist's auto policy. And then the last on the list is the motor vehicle insurer of the owner of the motorcycle. So if you're driving a motorcycle that was owned by somebody else, theirs is fourth in that order of priority. If nobody in the entire of those four people had PIP coverage, the motorcyclist would be covered under the Michigan Assigned Claims Plan, which exists to provide PIP coverage to people who are eligible for PIP benefits, but aren't required to carry PIP coverage, so like pedestrians. And if the motorcyclist has excess medical bills over whichever PIP limit they're subject to, the motorcyclist could look, or may have to look to their own health insurance to pay expenses, or they could sue the at-fault driver for their expenses, depending on the situation. But just to note, just to, I guess, sum up, you would be subject to the motor vehicle that was involved in the accident's PIP coverage if they have it. So even if you're a motorcyclist and you have unlimited coverage, if you get into an accident with another motor vehicle and they carry $250,000 of PIP medical coverage, then you would be subject to that 250 limit.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. Parker, our next question goes to you. What are the potential medical implications if you choose a lower level of PIP? Parker?
Right, so choosing a lower level of PIP medical coverage on its own should not affect what products or services or any sort of accommodations that are covered in that PIP plan if you are injured in a crash. However, there would be a dollar limit on the medical bills your insurance company will pay if you choose a limited option. So if you choose the $250,000 in coverage, that's the maximum amount that the auto insurance company will pay. And after that, you might be personal for any bills or anything that occurs afterwards that will exceed that $250,000 in coverage. So it's important to, review your options and make sure you choose a coverage level that's right for you and your own risk tolerance and any other plan that you have, and really consider your options. So.
Thank you, Parker. Joe, next question is for you. Will I have to fill out the personal injury protection form every time I renew my policy?
So you may or you may not, and it kind of depends. It could depend on certain insurer choices or the coverage that you make. So everyone will be offered the PIP form when they renew or start a new auto insurance policy beginning, or sorry, after July 1st, 2020. After that, you should only have to fill a new form if you're making a change in coverage, or if you previously opted out or excluded somebody and from PIP medical coverage. And this is done to make sure that you haven't had a change in health insurance, to make sure that your qualified health coverage is still in effect for the new policy term. And then some insurers, just depending on their internal procedures, might choose to have their insureds fill it out at every renewal. There's a minimum amount of times they have to give you the form, but there's nothing that prevents them from having an internal policy that requires people to fill out the form every time.
Thank you very much, Joe. Our last question comes from Tammy, and we'll give this one to Parker. Parker, Tammy asks, is there anything about borrowing or lending vehicles? For example, if someone borrows my car and their car is insured as well, how can I ensure that all parties are covered? Parker?
So thank you for your question, Tammy. So I just want to note, before I get into it a little bit, is that, every single specific situation, there might be different coverages involved, and depending on the circumstances of the accident, it will really depend which coverage applies to which person. So I can't say for sure because I don't know everything about, each and any individual situation. But I can, speak generally. So, in general, a policy may cover the named insured and resident relatives domiciled in the household. So, in your case, if someone borrows the car and they're not in your household, they may not have coverage or be able to get coverage from your own auto policy. And vice versa. However, that's just a general rule. It's not specific to every policy. I would recommend reaching out to your insurance company that's involved or your agent, because there are some insurers who may provide coverage in this space and some who don't. So, we recommend working it out with your agent or company and just doing a full disclosure and saying, hey, this is my situation. Is there coverage available here? And if not, just look around and shop for an insurer who may provide this coverage. So that is what we would recommend, is just to be upfront with the company and ask if there's coverage in this space. So thank you for your question.
Thank you very much, Parker. We've gotten to all the questions that have been submitted, and at this point, I'd like to pass the microphone back to Zach Dillinger to sign us off for the day. So with that, Zach?
There it is. Sorry, couldn't find the unmute button there for a second. So everyone, thank you all for attending today. Thank you to everybody on the call. We have received a number of questions, and we did answer as many of them as we could. If we did not answer your question directly, or you think of something else afterwards, you can email your written question to the address, which is going to pop to the screen here in a second. It's autoinsurance@michigan.gov. You can also give us a call at 833-ASK-DIFS. And please do check our website, michigan.gov/auto insurance. Now there we do have a number of FAQs which might have the answer to the question that you have. And you can also connect with us on social media as well. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We have presences on all of those platforms, and we do post content regularly. So thanks to our moderator, Ian, and especially to Joe and to Parker for answering all of the questions today. So thanks again, and all of you, I hope that you have a safe afternoon.